What's going on, Internet? I'm Christopher Peterson, and this is our E3 wrap-up for the first press conference. We are talking all about Bethesda. Bethesda came out, did a great job, especially for their first time, really spoke to their fans, announced a lot of games, and, at first when the announcements came out, it was nothing that surprised us. From a sense of, we knew they were going to talk Doom, we knew they were going to talk Fallout 4, we knew they were going to talk Dishonored. But what did surprise me personally was how much detail they went into, some of the new gameplay mechanics, and kind of how all these games are going to come together, and really kind of how soon they're all going to be available. One of the first games that they announced was Doom. So Doom is a remake of the classic game that you remember, and it looks and feels like Doom. It is first-person shooter, shotgun heavy, gory. It's everything that you'd want from a Doom game, but not beholden to those old school Doom mechanics. It's still embedded in, modern. I think that if you're a first-person shooter fan, that you should be looking forward to Doom. One thing that did kind of surprise me, all the gunplay and combat and death scenes and everything. I was like, well, it's Doom. It's gory. It's bloody. Movement's fast. But then at one point they ripped out a chainsaw. And at that point I did kind of feel, maybe this is a little too gory. But that's just me probably being a little bit old man. But, it's still there. And, if you like Doom, you'll definitely want to check out this game. It comes out spring 2016, which I'm really happy for. Not necessarily me personally playing it, but just this type of news cycle that Bethesda is being willing to generate. The fact that they announced this game just this past month, and then we are going to see it come out in less than a year, bearing the fact that it doesn't get delayed. Moving on, throughout their press conference, they also announced Battlecry. Battlecry is currently in alpha in some countries, Australia, and I think New Zealand. Don't quote me on New Zealand. And then it's coming out to a worldwide beta. It is an online PC combat game. It looks very stylistic. People are always clamoring for new IPs. So, if you're one of those people who's kind of tired of sequels, here's a new product out there for you. I don't think that this is a game that I'll necessarily jump right into and want to play, but it does have a free beta, so I think that I will go ahead and download that, and I encourage you to do the same. Even if it doesn't look like a game that you would be interested in, I think that if you take the time to play the beta, you'll have an understanding if it is a game that you'd want, or you can articulate a little bit better why it's a game that didn't exactly mesh with your sensibilities. Another game that was announced, kind of teasered before. If you don't know the backstory on this, Bethesda did a test run of their press conference yesterday before they did their actual press conference. And in it, they were on live on Twitch, and somebody came up and was like, hey, you guys are recording, and they freaked out. They tried to cover it up on Twitter, being like, hey, our test worked perfectly. So we already got Dishonored 2 leaked, by Bethesda themselves. This is extremely stylistic. It is more Dishonored. If you don't know anything about Dishonored, it is a stealth game where your character does have magic and is basically an assassin. It's more of a first-person stylistic Assassin's Creed, to be honest. And within this series, they are throwing out that for the first time you will have a female protagonist that you can play as. It is a choice. They'll still have the returning male protagonist from Dishonored 1, which will be interesting to see how they pan that out and put that together within the story. Dishonored fans are really looking forward to this. This was a CGI-only trailer, so no real release date or information. This is probably the game that Bethesda shared that's furthest away from actually being in players' hands from their press conference. Another game that was still just a CGI trailer, but they still spent a good amount of time on, a couple minutes on, is this Elder Scrolls Legends. No real details provided, except for the fact that it will be a free collectible card game. I do want to give Bethesda props. They did a lot of great things in their press conference. This just looks like Elder Scrolls Hearthstone. I love Hearthstone, so I will give this game a try. I think that it looks interesting enough, coming from Bethesda, who does have a good track record of making good games. They don't typically just jump in and do something just to do it. But as you're seeing right now, it is just kind of still images. So it's interesting that they took the time to put this together. And then in the kind of, there's more characters here, but in the InShot, there's only about 5 characters. So it'd be interesting to see if they do go with that in the end of having kind of a smaller roster. And then, of course, kind of the big boy, the purpose of the entire press conference, in a lot of ways. I think that the Doom generated a lot of buzz. People were excited about it. But without the Fallout 4 announcement, we would not have had a Bethesda press conference. This was one of the games that, specifically when I called out that we already knew it was going to be announced. We already knew Fallout 4 was going to be announced. They teased it themselves. But we didn't know was how much customization would be in Fallout 4. Right now you're seeing kind of being able to build your own town. There is a plug-and-play mechanic within the game where your character can go around and take materials and take objects and dismantle them and then rebuild it. There's multiple segments within the world where you have this option. So it makes it sound like it is limited to specific towns and events, but it's not limited to just kind of having just this one base. So everything within Fallout 4 has a feeling of making your own game. This looks like a very good combination of Fallout and Sims. Even from the character creation, they were saying that they got rid of the sliders. Now as you move along the face, you kind of select what you want your character to look out. There are male and female protagonists within this game. You can play the entire game in first person or third person. And they did go into some story details. If you haven't seen them, I don't want to spoil. I was surprised that they did that. It is in the opening of the game, but I still feel like, like if you played The Last of Us, that opening of that game is powerful. And I feel like they kind of took that away just a little bit from players. And another huge customization part that they call out is your weaponry. You can start with just a simple plasma pistol, and from there be able to upgrade it to a sniper rifle, a machine gun, a shotgun. The combinations, I don't want to say are endless because that's not factually true, but there's a crap ton of them. So it looks like Fallout is all about making your experience, your story, and just kind of doing whatever you want to do within the world. Fallout does have voice acting for the first time for the protagonists. So the male and female protagonists will have their own characters voiced. This is a great thing from the Mass Effect series. Well, so we'll see if this kind of follows suit or if your characters kind of fall in that same trap of being kind of shepherdized, where the choice that you select isn't exactly the dialogue that they end up speaking. One other thing kind of with the Fallout companion, they did announce a side app that would go with it. People got really excited about this. This is a giant Pip-Boy, which the Fallout characters use, which you can put your smartphone in and download the app, and then have that second screen experience where you could go through the menus and control and select and monitor your progress in the game, in real world. It's a cute idea. I will not pick up the collector's edition, but I definitely saw a lot of buzz and excitement for it. And then one of the last announcements that they had at the press conference was for Fallout Shelter. This is a free-to-play game on your smartphone, iOS, and Android devices, available right this second. I think that at this stage of E3 and how conferences go, every developer needs to have a available right now moment. And this is great. Everybody is excited for Fallout 4 coming out this fall. And this is just kind of, it doesn't tie into it, but it's in that Fallout universe. It gets people excited for it. And it is Tiny Tower with a Fallout aesthetic on top of it and more. Your characters go on missions. You can get raids or attack you. You can make babies. So I mean, there's a lot going on here. I think that people who have proven that the Tiny Tower, the Tiny Death Star, and those types of games have an audience. So, and this will follow suit in that same vein. That's pretty much most of the Bethesda announcements. Obviously, they went to a little bit granular detail. Definitely check out their conference if you're interested. And stay tuned for more E3 announcements. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part of the Bethesda press conference was, and what you're planning on picking up. Stay tuned, and I hope that you enjoyed this wrap-up and that we were able to help you with your Bethesda IQ. Level up, friends.